Hello everyone, my name is Olivia and welcome to a new book haul. I have acquired a couple of books throughout the months and I wanted to show you them. I've mentioned a couple of them in other videos, but I haven't officially hauled them and shown you a collection of all the books that I've recently acquired. So let's get right into it and let's start with the two books that I have already read. One I am currently in the middle of and one I have already read months ago and finally acquired a copy. And that book is The Bass Rock, and this was gifted to me by Vintage, so thank you so much to them. This is a book that I listened to on audiobook and greatly enjoyed and really wanted a copy to add to my historical fiction collection. So this follows 3 different timelines. One woman named Sarah is accused of being a witch. Another is Ruth, who is living in the aftermath of World War II, and she just recently married a man who has 2 children, and she's kind of learning the new dynamics of this family. And then we follow Viv, who is mourning the death of her father, and she is going through Ruth's belongings to try and piece together her history. I loved this novel so much. I actually read it because I really enjoyed the cover. I thought the cover was absolutely stunning. So this was definitely a cover read and it did not disappoint. It was an amazing audiobook chronicling these 3 women's lives throughout history and how their time periods are very different, but the anguish and the pain that they all go through is very familiar. So this discusses a lot of the historical implications of women's pain. It talks about the dynamics of marriage and societal expectations of women, and it is just such a well-rounded novel. If you are looking for a gloomy, very atmospheric type of historical fiction to read, I would highly recommend this one. It was a great time, and it was definitely a book that I wish I had read physically because I really wanted to highlight all my favorite passages. So I'm very glad that I now have a copy of it because if I ever want to reread it, I can annotate this book and really spend my time with it. The other book that I have recently acquired and I'm currently reading is Writers and Lovers, and this is a book that I'm currently reading because of TikTok. I always see this book being recommended for people in their 20s, for people who love sad books, and I'm 2 of those things, so I decided to pick it up, also because a couple of my friends have really enjoyed it. And this follows a woman named Casey, and she just recently moved to Massachusetts. She's trying to pursue her creative career as a writer, but she's very much struggling with that, and she's also dealing with the fact that her mother recently passed away. So it deals with grief, it deals with creativity, and it deals with the different aspects of living in a creative world where you have to talk to really pompous authors and you have to talk to people who think they are mightier than you. I'm only about 70 pages in, but I'm really enjoying the writing style. I've already started annotating this book and I'm taking my time with it, and it seems like a book that is going to slowly unfold and slowly become a new favorite of mine because I don't know, I love sad books. I love books that deal with grief because it can be so different in every single book because grief is different for every person who goes through it. I also love the exploration of a woman pursuing a creative hobby in an atmosphere where it's very difficult to do so because you have to pay the bills and pay your rent. So I'm excited to finish this book and hopefully, maybe, it might be a 5-star read for me. Who knows? Who knows? Is this a 5-star read prediction? Maybe. The next thing that I have to show you, I actually got in the mail yesterday, so this is perfect timing because usually I film a book haul and then that day I get something in the mail and I'm like, well, now I can't show it to you all. So it came a day early, and it is Flower Crowns and Fearsome Things by Amanda Lovelace. This was given to me by the publisher, so thank you so much to them. And this is a poetry collection loosely inspired by Persephone. Persephone is one of my favorite goddesses of all time. I can read hundreds and hundreds of books and poetry collections and watch movies about Persephone. I think she is so interesting. There are so many different sides to her story and so many different sides to her personality. So I'm very much excited to explore this poetry collection and see how Amanda kind of takes a twist on this tale. And it has beautiful art in it as well, and I'm just so excited to dive into this. The next book I actually showed in my Vermont vlog. If you have not seen that, I traveled to Vermont recently and I did a bunch of bookstore hopping and it was such a great time. So this is one of the books that I got in Vermont, and it is Outline by Rachel Cusk. I found out about Rachel Cusk on my way to Vermont. I was looking at my Kindle app and I noticed that there was a section that said, based off of your reading, based off of your Goodreads, here are books that you would like. And I was finally looking through that little banner for the first time, time and I saw a bunch of Rachel Cusk novels. I actually saw Second Place first before Outline, and that one seemed so intriguing. I do not have a copy of it, but I do really want a copy of it. And then I went to a bookstore in Vermont and then I saw Rachel Cusk. So I thought that was a very serendipitous moment, so I decided to pick up my first copy of a Rachel Cusk novel. Rachel Cusk, from what I've heard, I haven't really read any reviews because I want to go into her novels without knowing much, but from what I've heard, she has very introspective type of writing style. So what made me pick up Outline first was the description, where it said it is a novel in 10 conversations. Spare and lucid, it follows a novelist teaching a course in creative writing over an oppressively hot summer in Athens. I think I mentioned this before, where it kind of reminded me of Bella Figura, which is one of my favorite nonfictions of all time. That is split into 12 parts for 12 months of the year, and it deals a lot with making friends with people while traveling and learning about the culture. So I thought to myself, if I really enjoyed Bella Figura and that type of writing style and that structure, I think I would very much enjoy Outline. So I haven't read any reviews for Outline. This is like one of the first books that I have picked up in a while where I haven't read any reviews. I haven't really looked up if people like the author, if some of my friends really enjoy her writing. I just kind of picked it up because it seemed like something I would really enjoy, and that's also what happened with Bella Figura. I saw that in BookCon and thought it looked amazing, and I thought it would be the perfect fit for me, so it quickly became a favorite book of mine. So who knows? This might become a favorite book of mine. The next novel I have to show you was introduced to me by the publisher. They reached out and told me that I would be a perfect fit for this story, so they wanted to introduce it to me and send me a copy, and it is The Mad Woman's Ball. This is actually being turned into a film, and I'm very excited to compare and contrast the novel to the film itself. From the film's description, it says it's a woman who is unfairly institutionalized in a Paris asylum and plots to escape with the help of one of its nurses. And it is actually translated from French by Frank Wine, which is very exciting because I always want to read more translated fiction. So this is a great novel to pick up, and I think I also want to read it around autumn time because it seems very ominous. It seems like it would fit the vibe of autumn, and it's also a really short read. It's also called A Darkly Delightful Gothic Treasure, so I love Gothic novels. I'm very excited to read this. Another novel that I got for my birthday is Pachinko, and this was featured in my autumn TBR video, where this is a book that I want to read around autumn time, just because it is a very big novel that I want to take my time with. This is a Korean historical fiction, and it says, history is seldom kind. In Min Jin Lee's best-selling magisterial epic, 4 generations of a poor, proud immigrant family fight to control their destinies, exiled from a homeland they never knew. Esquire said it's an addictive family saga packed with forbidden love, the search for belonging, and a triumph against all odds. One of my favorite tropes that I don't think is utilized often in novels is forbidden love. That trope is so good because the angst, the longing, the despair is amazing. So I'm very excited to get through this because I want to diversify my historical fiction shelf. I want to read more international historical fictions, and I think this is going to be a great fit. And my lovely friend Alexandra over at Twirling Pages actually gifted this to me for my birthday, so thank you so much to her. I'm very intrigued by this story, and I've heard that it's sad. I've heard that it'll break your heart, so I hope I can read this soon in autumn time. I think it would be the perfect read for this season. A book that I also picked up on my birthday is The Need. This is a book that has a lot of mixed reviews on Goodreads, and that's why I wanted to get it, along with the fact that I found it for $1 at Book Off. Such a steal. This story follows a woman who was home alone with her 2 children when she begins to hear noises in her house. And at first she thinks she's imagining these noises until she comes face to face with the intruder in her house, who knows a bit more about her past than she actually realized. This one's also very short, and this is also a book on my autumn TBR because I want some spooky vibes for the season, and I think this is the perfect story for that. And I think because it's so short, I might be able to read this in one sitting. And as for the reviews that I mentioned on Goodreads, people give it usually 3 stars, but the synopsis really has me intrigued, so I want to form my own opinions about this book, and I don't want to just write it off because a couple of people have given it 3 stars and it's not everyone's cup of tea. I usually like some weird books, so this might be my cup of tea. and it might be a new favorite of mine. I'm not going to say it's going to be a 5-star read. I have very low expectations for this story, but I do want to give it a shot to form my own opinions. One of my friends, Sophie, also gifted me a book from her bookshelf for my birthday. She was planning to get rid of this book and asked me if I wanted the copy for myself, and I said yes because I've been wanting to read this book for years upon years, and it is Children of Blood and Bone. The reason why I want to pick up this fantasy is because people say if you ship Zuko and Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender, you will love this book. This is a West African inspired fantasy, and that's all I know about it because I'm not a big fantasy reader, as you can tell by my channel. I hardly ever read fantasy, but I've heard so many good things about Children of Blood and Bone that I wanted to give it a shot, and I think it's going to be a great read because so many people love it. This is why people tell me it's similar to Zuko and Katara. So people can summon flames, others can beckon waves, and reapers can summon forth souls. So I guess there's 3 different types of people with different powers, and they probably fight. They probably argue because they're like, you're different, I don't like you. So that's what I'm thinking. It seems to be a classic in the YA genre, so I wanted to include myself in the conversation, even though the conversation has died down because it's been years since this book has come out, but I'm still here. I'm trying. So the last 2 books that I have to show you were given to me off of my book wish list for my birthday, so I'm so grateful and so honored. So thank you so much to these 2 people I'm going to mention, but the first book that I want to show you is 1,000 Ships. This is a book that I heard about because I love Greek mythology. So it says it follows the Trojan woman whose fates now lie in the hands of the Greeks. It follows the Amazon princess who fought Achilles on their behalf, from Penelope awaiting the return of Odysseus to the 3 goddesses whose feud started it all. These are the stories of the women whose lives, loves, and rivalries were forever altered by history's most infamous war. Need I say more? Also, this cover, absolutely stunning. I love anything that has to deal with the Trojan War. I think it is fascinating. I think that I can never tire from it. And this is just a different perspective that this author is bringing forth to the table. It gives me a lot of vibes of The Silence of the Girls, which also deals with the Trojan War, and it kind of paints Achilles in a villainous light, which I really enjoy because if you were to look at the actions of Achilles without looking at his perspective, he's kind of a villain. He's kind of starting a lot of shit. I'm excited to see how they'll explore his personality in this book, along with all these other stories that I haven't really familiarized myself with. This sounds like a book that I would greatly enjoy and have a lot of fun with, and it also has deckled edges. I don't really care for deckled edges, just wanted to mention it, but I don't know. How do you feel about deckled edges? It's kind of annoying when you use them, but aesthetically, they look nice. I don't know. I forgot to mention, this was gifted to me by Cassie, so thank you so much to them. I am so honored and so grateful, and this really made my birthday and it brightened my day. Thank you so much. And the last book that I have to show you is the cutest book in the history of books, and it is The Tea Dragon Society. This was given to me by Allison, who is so generous and so kind, and their support really means the world to me. And the Tea Dragon Society is about people who take care of dragons. And that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm pretty sure that's the whole story. But it is so pretty. The color palette is gorgeous, and it has a bunch of cute little dragons, and it gives me Hobbit vibes, and it just seems so stinking cute. It just seems like the book that doesn't really have a plot, and it's just vibes. Thank you so much to Allison for giving me a copy of The Tea Dragon Society. Those are all the books that I have to show you for this book haul. Let me know if you've read any of these books and if you greatly enjoy them. Let me know which book you are most excited for me to read. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. If you want to follow me anywhere else, all my social media links will be down below. If you want to join my Patreon, I have a lot of fun over there. You get exclusive content that you won't see here, like early access to my videos and weekly roundups, and it's a great time over there. And if you have made it this far in this video, leave a stack of books emoji in honor of this book haul. Thank you so much for watching this video and spending your time with me, and I hope you had a great time. Bye!